UFC 287 is this Saturday, and we have Gilbert Burns taking on Jorge Masvidal. And a lot of people are picking Gilbert Burns with high confidence, so am I, but there's actually a lot of you guys who are also taking the side of Masvidal in this, and you have a good case to do it. There's actually a lot of ways that Masvidal could potentially get an upset here, and that's what I want to base this video around. We're going to cover what Masvidal can do to get the win. We're going to get into why I think Gilbert Burns will be able to stop that from happening, and then we're going to talk about what's next for each of the fighters, because this is a must-win scenario for the both of them. In 2020, both Masvidal and Israel Adesanya were on the cover of UFC 4, and now here they are 3 years later, both with their backs against the octagon fence fighting for their careers. For Masvidal, things really went downhill since 2020, so you know it's a must-win situation for him. We obviously know it's a must-win situation for Gilbert Burns. Both of them are getting older in their careers. Gilbert's 36, whereas Masvidal is 38, and you have Masvidal being a 4-1 underdog coming into this. So if you do think that Masvidal is going to get the upset, the bookies are going to pay you out very nicely. So we can all agree that Jorge Masvidal is one of the best boxers the UFC has to offer. Really, the only times he loses lately is when he's able to get negated in the wrestling department. So that's going to be Gilbert's path to victory here. We've seen Gilbert strike before. He's not exactly the highest level striker. He throws a lot of looping punches. He doesn't move his head off center. It's something that a striker like Masvidal would be able to eat up all day. So the longer that we see the fight standing, at any point during the fight, you have to be worried, and it's definitely a better thing for Masvidal. Can Masvidal stop the takedown from Gilbert Burns? So we want to take a good look into the actual strengths and weaknesses of both of these two. Masvidal is really good takedown defense at 71% throughout his career, higher than majority of the other fighters, especially the ones who are primarily strikers. The cream of the crop have been able to still make it work. Damian Maia was able to do it, although he backpacked him for a long time. We had Kamaru Usman who's able to do it, Colby Covington who's able to do it. So the question is Gilbert Burns going to be able to do it? In the early fights of Gilbert's career, he wasn't the best at wrestling. His main grappling strength was his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you didn't know, he's actually one of the best in all of the UFC at Jiu-Jitsu. He's won many tournaments outside of the UFC. It's one of his best weapons, although I know when you watch him fight, he just likes to go in there and brawl like he kind of did with Khamzat Chimaev. He didn't try to take down Kamaru Usman. You know, he uses it defensively a lot of the cases. But if you look at two of his recent matchups against Wonderboy and against Neil Magny, he didn't play around in the striking at all with them, right? He literally, in the case of Neil Magny, just faked one punch and went right in for the takedown. In that takedown, showed very good speed, very good power, was able to get Neil Magny down. And once Gilbert's on top of you, and what makes him a different beast from Kamaru and Colby is there's a much better chance you're not getting back up. Gilbert's going to use that jiu-jitsu, and he's shown to use it even more in the later half of his career to just chase really good submissions. He's very good at seeing an opportunity when his opponent's trying to either change the position by getting up or try to scramble. He's very good at cinching onto really tricky submissions. Like he almost got Khamzat in an armbar during their fight, scared Khamzat off from entering in grappling exchanges with him, and made him turn into a kickboxer to the point where his coaches were even getting mad at him. So Khamzat, this touted grappler, even he knew that you don't really want to mess with Gilbert Burns on the ground. Same with Kamaru, he didn't want to go down there with him. Point being is, if Gilbert does get Masvidal down, he is in a deep pile of shit. Masvidal isn't going to have the same luxury he had in his last two fights where the round can sort of expire and then he gets to start standing again. Gilbert's going to try to finish him right then and there as soon as he has the position. Gilbert's going to be open, and he's going to have to do some sort of striking exchanges to really get the opportunity to take him down. And every single second that that's happening, that's working in Masvidal's favor. That's exactly what Masvidal fans want to see. And of course, if you guys enjoy my style of content, you want to support me as a creator, consider subscribing with your notification bell on and leaving a like. So Masvidal was known to be on this crazy win streak, right? But it really was only a 3-fight win streak. You had him beat Darren Till, which he was a big underdog in. Darren Till is obviously a different matchup to Gilbert. They were engaging in a little striking battle, some good boxing, and that's what you don't want to do against Masvidal. Like, that's where he is very dangerous. He's one of the more tricky fighters. He likes to lure you into traps, get good reads, like a lot of them do, but he's incredibly good at capitalizing on it. He doesn't knock people out necessarily from his power. He knocks them out from surprising them. When he got Darren Till, Darren did not even know where that punch was coming from. It was a really good KO to showcase what's dangerous about being in there with Masvidal. You then had him have one of the toughest fights of his life in Ben Askren, the whole 10 seconds of it, where he had to go and knee him in the face. Credit to him for getting it, but it's not something you can really count on him to repeat in this fight, so we'll sort of move past that. Then he fought an aging Nate Diaz, beat the piss out of him until the doctor stopped it. Then you have him go against Kamaru twice, get manhandled both times, knocked out the second time. You have him go against Colby and get manhandled for all 5 rounds. And then you have Masvidal say he's taken 6 months to train his grappling really heavily, which I believe that he did do that. I just question at age 38 how effective that will be, because I imagine his gas tank is starting to deplete a little bit. To me, it looked like he was pretty much dead tired throughout that Colby Covington fight, like even in the 3rd round. And I know this fight's only 3 rounds long, but if Gilbert's relentless enough with those takedowns, man, that's gonna zap his cardio like a motherfucker. As soon as his cardio starts to get drained, you can see how the fight can sort of just be pulled away from him like it has in his last 3. And I see Gilbert taking advantage of that, being able to get on top of him, get a submission. Wouldn't be surprised if Gilbert subs him in the very 1st, but I think Gilbert will likely get the sub 2nd, late 2nd, or early in the 3rd. I don't think this one will go the distance, but if it does, I'm very confident that Gilbert will win. But like I said at the beginning of the video, if Masvidal is able to stop those takedowns, if him training takedown defense for the last 6-7 months strictly like he claimed he did after the Covington loss has actually improved him significantly from the point he was at, which was already good at takedown defense. If he can just stop these takedowns, Gilbert could be in a world of trouble. If you take those 2 and you leave them only on the feet, you remove grappling, Jorge's going to win that fight 9 times out of 10. But what I'm banking on for the pick is Gilbert has not been playing around in the later half of his career. He knows at age 36 he's got to make this run to the title count, and he's got to get there and actually do it. So I think you'll see a pretty similar game plan that he used against Neil Magny. Engage literally as little amount of time as possible in boxing Jorge, and then as soon as the opportunity presents itself, he's going to shoot a nasty double leg, probably even go in for a body lock. I know I'm just fantasizing this at this point, but if he goes in for a body lock, I see him having good success with that, because if he gets George to the ground, even if he lands on and they're sideways or George is on top of him somehow, if it ends up going bad, George still doesn't want to be on top of him on the ground. Gilbert is extremely dangerous and can get good submissions even from his back. So get in on the clinch exchange, get the body lock, and just fall, bring him down with you. And once he's down there, I think he's going to drown pretty damn quick, or he's going to try to get up, potentially get caught. But I will say this, I am expecting it to not look easy. I do think that Gilbert's in for a much harder fight than he was against Neil Magny, obviously, which isn't saying much, but I do think that his style will edge this out. I'm surprised that Masvidal is taking another guy that's going to go in there and try to submit him or grapple him after the last 3 losses he's had. But we will see, won't we? That's why we love this sport. Masvidal's got some crazy upsets recently. Damn, if he gets an upset over Gilbert Burns, I know that everybody would go crazy, including myself. And I'm going to be live streaming this event as well. Not the actual event, obviously, but me watching the event. So during the event, if you're just hanging out at home and you want to have my stream on and hear my reactions to the fights and talk with me about it, feel free to come on by. It's my first one. So now let's get into what will be next for each of these fighters quickly. If Gilbert wins this, I think he should fight the winner of Bilal Muhammad and Shavkat, and that guy gets to be the clear next, for sure, locked in #1 contender after Colby and Leon go at it. I think that would be fair. And if Masvidal wins this, I think he just gets the next spot automatically. He doesn't even have to fight another one of those 2 because of his star power. And if Gilbert somehow loses this, my God, I think you still give him the loser of Shavkat and Bilal. Then he just winner or loser, you know, and then the winner of that's going to be able to stay up there. The loser's going to kind of get kicked back to Shittyville of the UFC rankings. And if Masvidal loses this, he said in the UFC, it wasn't embedded, it was on the countdown, I believe, that he's done. He's going to retire. So I probably believe him at age 38. He's made his money. He's got his promotion started up. I take him at his word at that. But if he doesn't do it, he lost to Wonderboy earlier on in his career. They're both ain't going to try to grapple each other. It would be a fun matchup for the fans, and maybe let that be a retirement fight. I wouldn't even mind it for both of them. Wonderboy is getting pretty up there in age. So thank you guys for watching this video. As always, I have a few more UFC 287 breakdowns coming up leading up to the fight. So if you enjoy my style of content, consider subscribing with your post notifications on. And of course, leave a like and leave a comment. It helps me grow the channel, tells YouTube to bring more people my way. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy this one too. And I will see you guys in the next one.